Initiation deaths are quite a concern every season. The Eastern Cape Initiation Bill is currently being reviewed by the provincial government. This to help prevent deaths and injuries of initiates, as well as to ensure that the compliance of traditional surgeons is observed. Now, the Eastern Cape's Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Department says that the law as it stands has failed to meet the promises to curb illegal initiations as well as the deaths of initiates at the hands of unauthorized traditional surgeons. So to talk more on this, I'm joined now by Mr. Zolani Mkiva, the General Secretary of the Congress of Traditional Leaders of South Africa. Sir, thank you so much for your time and happy Easter Monday to you. We know you're supposed to be relaxing with family, but here you are discussing issues of national importance. Thank you so much. Now, I want to start with this, if I may. I mean, the Eastern Cape COCTA department raising such important issues that it seems that the law has failed initiates. Do you share the same views? When we look at some of the deaths recorded within the province, has the South African law failed?
Yes, there are definitely gaps in the policy perspective and the law in the current form. And so we agree with them that there is a need to strengthen those laws in order to have proper regulations which closes ranks on any bogus initiation school or illegal, surgeons that practice. So when the law doesn't bite enough, it is important, therefore, that you review it, amend it, and strengthen it so that you are able to prevent any of these things that have been happening. But most importantly, from our perspective, is that what needs to happen is to give back the authority of providing leadership on this ritual to the institution that has got knowledge, expertise, and tenacity to be able to handle this. So that institution becomes the traditional authority. If all the powers and functions are placed centrally into the traditional council, which is presided by a traditional leader, and you give those powers firmly on that institution, then it is going to be very easy.
Right.
Otherwise, if we're going to continue and place those powers and functions elsewhere in the town or in the offices of government, which is far from what is happening on the ground, you will continue to have a problem. So we agree from that perspective, and we can only hope that things will happen in the manner in which we do say.
Right. So at the same time, while you agree that there seems to be loopholes within the law, where are also some of the loopholes, Mr. Mkiva, when it comes to the non-compliance of some of our traditional surgeons?
Look, Tumelo, what has happened with the initiation schools, particularly in the Eastern Cape, is that there are people who are operating behind the backs and above the heads of the community. And they find a loophole in the law to be able to do that. So I'm saying, therefore, that the gaps are exactly on that particular point. It can't be just an issue of any individual family to decide as to where to set up schools for initiates. It must be a communal administered exercise. It must start in a traditional council by way of a registration. You see what you have now, you have a lot of unrecognized, unregistered, and unknown traditional surgeons. People who want to make money, they just wake up and they declare themselves as such, and they take advantage of people who are ignorant of who is recognized and who is not recognized. And then their children fall in danger and they end up being victims. And in some instances, as you know, year by year, people have died.
Yeah.
So we are saying then we agree that there is a need for the review. And we say that we must work together with the Department of Cooperative Governance to ensure that we strengthen that law and we actually make those laws to resonate with the realities on the ground.
When you talk about, initiates falling victim and those losing their lives, the numbers are quite staggering. You're absolutely right. 2014, we're seeing that number being 14 initiates dying in winter, 17 in the summer, all the way to 2019, where 17 had died reportedly rather, in the winter and 29 in the summer. These are quite, shocking but also concerning numbers. But before I let you go, we know that the initiation, schools, most of them had closed during this COVID-19 pandemic, and traditional leaders, on the other hand, are calling for that suspension to be lifted. What's the status on that conversation?
Well, let me start off by saying that the outbreak of this coronavirus has really found us wanting, particularly in this sector of the initiation. And it is out of the lessons that we learned during this period of the pandemic that there is now a realization that indeed the powers having been taken away from the authority was a fundamental problem. Hence, there is a need for the review. And of course, I want to agree with you that one death is too much many. And therefore, the ritual and the tradition is not meant to kill. Instead, is intended to strengthen life by ensuring that we give leadership to those that have got a responsibility in the future to lead the nation. And therefore, I want to agree with what you are suggesting, that with the regulations that are coming as a result of the protocols that are announced by the department or gazetted, from where we are sitting as the Congress of Traditional Leaders, we believe that we have a huge backlog. And we think that having put this to test during the last season of December,
right,
we believe that we have time now, enough time to plan and prepare properly, so that we can indeed do open for this coming June. We are making that call, not irresponsible. We are saying that it is better to prepare now, and therefore it is important that we must give a signal to the nation that indeed this national ritual will go ahead during the month of June.
We have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your time this Easter Monday, and enjoy the rest of your day. Controlesa General Secretary Zolani Mkiva.